another routine that I do, and that I'm sure some of you have heard of, is called a count around. So a count around is more of like a mini lesson, so it's going to take a little bit more time than just a minute at a time. And let me actually stop for just a second, because the reason that I share these with you is when I got started working with Pam 75 years ago, I was a classroom teacher, and we did not have bridges or investigations or whatever. I had this binder, right? The binder of a collection of worksheets that somebody had made that was like, here's how to teach place value, here's how to teach addition, and it was like day one, 4 lines typed out and 47 worksheets, right? That was the magic. So we walked away from some early training and said, what do we even do? You've opened my brain and I have all this great stuff and I have access and how to verbalize what I was already kind of messing with, but what in the world do you do? And I'm going to suggest that this is kind of the stuff that you do, right? Little bits, playing a game, doing some new routine, looking at the things that you say. Are you mathematically accurate in the things that you say? Do you make over generalizations that then somebody later has to undo, right? There's just some things that have to go through your own head, because if you try to tackle everything, you're probably going to be pretty exhausted. So another routine that I do is called a count around. And we feel like we've talked a little bit about counting, right? Kids are really good counters and they can all sing song, like you can do the alphabet. They can all sing song 10, 20, 30, 40, right? We're good at that. How good are our kids if we start at a number that's not a multiple of 10? Like, what if I asked you to start, or you asked your kids to start with 26? Can they all count by 10 starting at 26? Depends on their age, maybe, right? So let's do that really quickly. What if we start at 26? Let's just snake around here, and I'm going to record the things that you say. Start here. What if we say 26? Jordan, what's next?
36.
36. Next?
46.
46.
56.
56. 66.
76.
76.
86.
Yep. Just snake around again. 106.
116.
116. I'm slanting.
126.
126. Jordan, do a few more.
136.
Yep.
146.
Okay, one more.
156.
156. Okay, well done. You can count. By tens. You've proven it. Okay, give me some observations. What do you notice?
6 all the way down.
6 all the way down. Anywhere you want it to be?
Nope. Only in the ones place.
Why?
Because
Why is there 6 in the ones place every time?
adding 10 every time.
Okay.
And not messing with the ones.
So when you add 10 every time, it never messes with the ones.
Yeah.
Does everybody agree with that? When you add 10 every time, it never messes with the ones. Because there's a 0 and it doesn't do anything.
Like the 0 plus 0, everything plus 0.
So adding 110 doesn't affect the zeros place at all. Okay? So no matter how many 10s I add, you're saying it's always going to have a 6 in the ones place? Okay? So I'm going to write always into a 6. Okay? Any other observations? Always into a same digit. Because if I start with 19, then I'm going to switch to 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
No.
You said it always ends in 6.
Well, that one does.
This line of numbers, series of numbers, always ends in 6. But if I start with 19, if this number had been 19, then it would be 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. If I start with 78, 8 all the way down. So what makes the difference?
The ones place never changes.
The number I start with, right? The number I start with will determine the ones digit every time, because that will never change. Okay, what else do you notice?
Goes by ones. Going down.
Goes by ones? I thought we were counting by
5,
tens.
6, 7, 8, 9.
You see what?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
2, I see it. I see it. 2, 3.
And that Would
4,
of course
5,
be in the
6,
tens
7,
place.
8.
20, 30, 40, 50, 60.
Whoa, I don't see a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Where's there 20, 30, 40, 50, 60?
2.
That's what's actually.
Oh, so this is worth 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Thank you. I really was confused for a second. Okay, so that's good. It goes from 2 to 9, and then 0.
10.
Actually, it's 10.
10 tens.
10 tens. 11 tens. 12 tens. 13 tens. 14 tens. 15 tens. What would the next number be? The value of the next number would be 16 tens and a 6. Yeah? And then the next one would be 17 tens and a 6. Anything else you notice?
Well, it would depend on how high you're going to, like if you wanted to keep counting, because then it's gonna start if you get when you get into the 200s.
You get in the 200s. So you're gonna have a series of 100s for a while, and then 200s. And what's that gonna do to the tens? We have 10 tens, 11 tens, 12 tens, 13 tens. When we're in the 200s, what's that gonna look like? 20 tens? Man, I don't think we explain, demonstrate, model, describe, show, whatever these words you want to use. We don't give kids the opportunity to explore value of number enough. By just doing something and stepping back and going, man, what do you notice? They notice a ton, right? They notice a ton. We try to show a whole lot of stuff. Okay, let's bump it up a little bit. You ready? What if I asked you to start at 447? Because you're more adultish. We're gonna go around a couple times. 447.
457.
477.
487.
497.
507.
517.
527.
537.
2 more.
547. 557.
Okay? Did the things that you described hold true for this count as well? Tell me again what those were. Tommy, give me one that we said.
Always ends with the same digit in the ones place.
True? And why is it sevens?
Because we started with 147.
We started with a number that had a 7 in the ones place, and so that was going to be true the whole time. Okay?
The tens changes by 110 adds everything. So it's like 44 tens, 45 tens.
This is 44 tens, 45 tens, 46 tens, 47 tens. Okay? Anything else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When, like, going back to the first one, is it bad to show it, to teach them just in columns, like ones, tens, hundreds? Is it bad to teach them like that the pattern continues 1 through 9 or 0 through 9 and then 0 through 9 again? Is that bad, or is it better for them to be like, oh, it's, you know, it's 10 tens once you get to 100?
I'm going to ask you guys. Is it bad to have them, to teach them, is it bad to teach them about 2 through 9 and then 0 through, if this went down 9 and then 0 through 9? What do you think? Respond to Katie.
I think it would be bad to teach them that if that was like what you were going to do to show them how to skip count by tens. If you were like, this is what
Why
you
is that
do.
bad? This is precious, by the way. You guys have all said things like, is it bad? Is it wrong?
Because
Why is that?
they don't understand the concept. It's just like a trick. They don't really understand the number, the relationships of the numbers.
But isn't that a pattern also?
But I think it would be fine, like if
Good
a
pushback.
kid noticed it, like if it I would not get up and say, guys, this is how you skip count by tens. You just, you know, but if a kid noticed it, then I would be like, okay, let's talk more about that and try to pull them toward seeing it more in the relationships of the numbers instead of just the 0 through 9 sequence, even though I think it'd be great if they noticed it.
Anybody else want to comment on that? Katie said, is it bad to teach them this 2 through 9 and then 0 through 9 and then 0 through 9 again, that repetition that happens?
I think maybe.
Turn it up. Will you turn it? You can turn it up.
I know I'm guilty of doing it, probably.
I'm bad and wrong and guilty.
But I think like this is a better way to do it because it shows them more about the value as opposed to just like a number pattern.
Do we like kids to notice number patterns?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. For sure. Becky, you were going to say something?
Well, I was going to say a couple of things. First, I think kids probably will notice that, and they would be more likely to say, what happened, now we have no tens when they look at that 106, so that's going to be kind of natural. But I think they would pair well, that we can look at the value of that 11, tens, and 6 in more than one way. We can notice the 10 pattern just by itself, or the tens place pattern, and combine a tens place with a hundreds place pattern, and make that connection to also calling those 11 tens, calling it 100 and 110, at the same time building the fact that that's equivalent to 11 tens. So I think the patterns pair well together, and both could help kids construct what's happening.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because like I think we sometimes get, because I notice this with my kids, is like we ask them too many, like if like 106, for example, or said how many hundreds are in, you know, how many hundreds, how many tens, and they say 0, and we're like, yep, there's 0 tens, but there's really not 0 tens. There's tens within the number 106. So then they start like devaluing what really is in the number.
Right. So I think it's really easy to get the answer, and it's just a different question that we want to ask. If you want the answer to be 0 here, then the question isn't how many tens are there. It's what digit is in the tens place, right? Mm-hmm. Are we thinking digit oriented, or are we thinking value? Because there's absolutely some tens here, and we know there's 10 of them. If I'm talking about place naming, if I'm talking about what's the digit in that place, I mean, kids have to know the place name, but let's call it what it actually is. Let's focus on digit oriented. So I might focus on, hey, did you notice the digits? I don't know that I necessarily am going to call out any patterns. I might step back and say, man, I feel like I'm noticing something about the 2, 3, 4. And then it goes to a 0. That's really weird, if that was something important. But I would definitely say the digit in the tens place goes 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, why is there a 0? That's kind of weird. If somebody hadn't already pulled out it goes to 10, 11, 12. Because it's a nice push towards, wait, it's part of, this 0 is part of a 10, like Becky was saying. This 1 again is now part of an 11. For sure the value is more important to me. So there's lots to notice here, right? It's not just count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, which they can sing song. There's a lot more of a rich conversation here that I want kids to have. So count-arounds work a couple of different ways for me. In a very early count-around, it's gonna be predictable patterns, right? Why would I go, okay, this is the order we're gonna go? And I let kids know. Why would I do that in the very beginning? Let people know the order that they're gonna go in. Yeah.
So they can like think ahead and try to.
Yeah. It's like we've got kids who like panic, right? Pressure. There are kids who are absolutely like moving forward and checking themselves. Once we've all established community and we're comfortable, then I might go you, now you, now you, now you, now you, now you, and I'm popcorning because I want to see on the fly what they come up with. And I'm actually going to do that to you next. I'll give you one. I'm going to give you one time where it's a predictable pattern. All right. So we said we're going to talk about tens and nines in relation to each other, right? Tens and nines in relation to each other. If you can count by tens, surely you can count by nines, right? A couple of you just went, oh no. If you can count by 10s, you can count by 9s. It's just super close, right? All right, so here's what I want us to do. I want to count by 9s. We'll be super easy. How about we start at 35? You good with that? All right, let's go by 35. And the first time, we'll go in order. Tommy, we're going to start with you. We're going to snake backwards. Starting at 35, we're going to count by 9s.
44.
44. Evan?
53.
Some of you went, oh! Okay. Like, take your time, right? Like, I've got great wait time. I promise you that. All right, Evan? 53.
Oh, that would be 62.
62.
71.
Whoa.
80.
80. The level there. We're at 35.
Wait, what are we doing?
We're at 80. What's your number, Nikki?
75.
We're at 80.
Wait,
One.
sorry,
That's
what are we
okay.
doing?
We're doing 9 more.
Oh, 9 more, 89.
89.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I was like still trying to
Totally fine.
again. 10.
So 89 and we want 9 more.
9 more, so 100. Oh, 8, 9 more. Oh, 98? No.
It's okay.
Yeah, 90.
Yeah, do you want to confirm? Nikki's nodding, so it's okay. Anybody else want to offer something different? You're good?
Yeah,
You're
because
good?
9 and 9 is 18.
You good?
98.
What do you mean to write down?
98.
98, okay. Okay. One of you?
107.
7. Whoever didn't go.
Oh, 100.
What is it?
100.
116. I'm going to move this because I know I'm getting too low over here. Tommy?
125.
Oh no. 125. Evan?
134.
134. One more.
143.
All right. So here's my first question.
Oh.
How did you determine the number that you were going to say? We'll talk about patterns and whatnot in a minute. Evan, I'm going to ask you. How did you? No, Tommy, I'm going to ask you because I gave you the first number. How did you determine 44?
I needed one less than 10. One less than 10 more than 35.
Oh, did you hear that? He said I needed one less than 10 more than 35. One less than 10 more than 35. I need space. One less than 10 more. So Tommy, let me ask you a question. Did you do 10 more and then back up one? Or did you do one less and then 10 more? How did you?
I did 10 more and backed up one.
So you did plus 10 minus 1, and that gave you 9. Is that true? So 35 plus 10 is 45, and then minus 1 is 44? Let's see if that works here. 44 plus 10 is 54. Minus 1 is 53? Yeah? One more time. 53 plus 10, 63. Back up 1 is 62. What do you think about Tommy's strategy? It was easier than yours. What was your strategy?
I had 80, so I was very lucky.
Okay.
But I was trying to be quick with them, and
Did you feel any kind of pressure? Like, oh my heavens, these people are so fast? Like, your face
And I tried to
is, you're
think
precious
ahead.
because your face
When it
is looking
gets
at me, you're like, I can't think ahead.
I realized, and then I realized I was 80, and I was like, okay.
Okay.
But it was, I didn't think that, so I was literally thinking, okay, but I know the trick that if you did 53 and 9, that it's going to be a 2, and so I had to. Well, yeah, it's my trick.
Did anybody feel the need to count on their fingers? Like a couple of you did. I saw it, and it's okay. right? Like you like step back, you're uncomfortable, and you were like, I'm not really sure. And there were some like tiny movements. Like there were some tiny movements happening right here. You see it? Okay. But I wonder about Tommy's strategy. If now somebody has pointed out, man, like is 9 just a plus 10 minus 1? Is it? So I asked Tommy, what'd you do first? Because I wonder, could I have done the minus 1 plus 10? Could I say 35? Is it true that minus 1 and then plus 10 is also 9? Could I do 35 minus 1? It's 34. And then plus 10 is 44? So I'm going to write this. Could I also think minus 1 and then plus 10, or in fact, I can just minus 10 minus 1 plus 10 is that also 9? So I could back up the 1 and then add 10? Yeah? All the way through? You know what I find super, super interesting? No matter what, every single group I've ever done this with, you know where the mess ups, the panic, the take longer time, you know what happens? Right here. 80 and 89. You know why?
Because we're starting to look for the pattern.
What's a pattern? You
Well,
said
because
you're
I was
looking
doing
for a
that
pattern.
because that's why I messed up 89, and I was like so confused for a second because I was kind of like watching the pattern as people were going.
Tell me a pattern. Wait,
Like where
because Tommy didn't describe a pattern.
it's becoming one more in the 10, like one more 10, but one less 1.
Wait.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Like
1,
3,
0.
like in the 10 space, it was going 3, 4,
3,
5.
4, 5, 6,
Start over
7,
at
8.
0.
So then I was thinking
Zero.
9,
Right.
and so but then like, and so I was like so
Why did you go 8,
confused.
8?
And the same thing with this was that I got to 0 and I was like, wait, but I'm getting smaller. Like, what's smaller? And then I'm like, wait, 9's not smaller.
You had that, didn't you?
But
You
then
had
first,
this-
I just had to step back and I was like, 80 plus 9 is 89. I was like, I don't know why I was like so confused for a second.
So I always like to start with a number that it'll take a little while to get to this transition, because I think what happens is what you guys did. So Tommy thought about, I'm going to do back 1 plus 10 or plus 10 back 1, right? But then a pattern starts to fall out, right? Did anyone else use this pattern of like the ones place is going down by 1? Right here? And what's happening to the 10th place? It's going up by 110. But there's this funky piece right here where it kind of falls apart. And you can get sucked into a pattern. And you have to go, I'm gonna step out of that for just a second. Do I know 80 and 89? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I can think, right? So as we're following these patterns, sometimes we have to step back and go, wait, what's happening here? This is the place every single time. And you can tell who's following a pattern because it falls apart, right? Ready? Here's what I'm gonna do another one with you, but I wanna go backwards. You go with me?
Sure.
Okay. We're gonna do 483, and we're still gonna do 9s, back by 9s. Okay, so am I upping the ante a little bit?
Yeah.
Because did we decide yesterday with our alphabet that forward was easier or backward was easier? Forward's easier, right? And I upped the ante a little bit for you because we're not doing 10s, we're doing 9s. We've talked a few strategies, so I wonder if patterns might be helpful, or if this idea of like what Tommy was doing. Now, Tommy was thinking about plus 10 minus 1. Can I do that here?
You reverse it.
Ah, now I'm subtracting 9. All right, so this time we're gonna actually start here. I'll be nice, since I switched that up on you, I'm not gonna popcorn you. So here we go. Jordan, we're gonna go back 9.
474.
I'm gonna write slow because I have to think too.
465.
uh, 450. 456.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
447.
453.
418. No, wait a minute. 400. Lots of things. Am I not right?
I didn't hear you.
420, sorry.
400, I really didn't hear you.
420?
We're removing
Yeah.
9.
420, okay. See, all of a sudden you got the 29.
Evan
411.
and Tommy,
402.
where do we start, like, breaking a pattern?
Same.
At 29.
Yo, which should be the simplest problem, right?
That's what
Because we all get like, I'm like rearranging, I'm adjusting, I'm following a pattern.
That's why I said 410 and it wasn't
Of course.
410 because
You were among
29 minus
very many.
20 is 9.
Yeah. So I do this and I suggest this because I do think that sometimes we gotta step out and we gotta go, okay, wait, what am I being asked right now? Like, let's not get so digitized and so focused only on the tiny pattern that we don't step out. We don't go, wait, the problem is actually 429 minus 9.
Yes. And
Which we can all do like that, right?
but I was trying to follow the pattern.
Yeah, of course. Of course. You are among many great mathematicians who have done the
Me and
exact same
Einstein
thing.
have a lot in common.
Okay, so patterns that you've described. Does the tens place or the ones place change in a predictable way? Okay. What about the tens place and hundreds place? Yeah. Okay. For sure, something worth noticing. Okay. Again, I ask, who cares? Why do we care? What does the 9 thing do to help us in any particular way? Why do a count around? Like, it's fun. Kim loves it. Not so much. Talk to your table. Why do a count around?